Hi, this is Eric Choka, and we're coming to you from the East Village today. We're standing in front of Live Live, Christopher Dubrowolski's great health food store. And we have a great show for you today. It's on nutrition from whole food supplements. So without further ado, we're going to go to Kevin in the studio.
Hello, I'm Kevin Shuker and this is HealthVOX. On today's show we look at the role of food supplements. With the ever-declining nutritional value of many foods, the role of additional supplementation may look like a viable addition to dietary needs, replacing the deficiencies found in all processed and cooked foods. There is much competition between vitamin companies and each make bold claims using creative marketing practices to entice us to purchase their products. Today we shed some light on the food supplement business. In this competitive world, it is a case of buyer beware, or perhaps better stated, buyer become aware. To get the best value for your money, it is important to understand the labeling on all dietary products. Supplementation falls into two main groups. Isolated substances, usually stated on the label as their chemical name, such as vitamin A, vitamin E, ascorbic acid, or niacin. When choosing this type of supplement, nutrition is being broken down and described as a series of isolated chemicals with little or no relationship to other chemicals. If you are lacking vitamin C, then it would seem sensible and obvious to supplement with extra vitamin C. However, Vic Shane, the author of Whole Food Nutrition, states, vitamins never exist in isolation, but rather within an interwoven complex of food nutrients and substances. In addition, Richard Murray taught for 30 years that isolated vitamins eventually lead to biochemical imbalances and nutritional deficiencies as the body is forced to surrender its stores of complementary nutrients in order to make isolated vitamins work. When choosing an isolated mineral or vitamin, it is an intellectual challenge to derive the correct dosage. The interrelationship between these substances can be complex and challenging to fully understand and monitor. Zinc, copper, iron, calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, and other minerals can be upset and offset by improper multivitamin supplementation. Too much magnesium or phosphorus may imbalance calcium. Too much copper imbalances vitamin C and B6. Too much zinc may lead to a copper deficiency. There is an option to this mass-produced chemical supplements. This is termed a whole food supplement. A complete food is used. Nothing is being added or extracted from the original food source. The quality of a whole food complex is the balanced relationship of its biochemical makeup. Evolutionary balance is more important than the individual vitamins, minerals, or amino acids when taken in isolation. Within the body is a biochemical environment working harmoniously with other biochemicals to create an internal environment of health. James Duke, author of The Green Pharmacy, states, vitamins and phytochemicals are better as they occur in plants, not isolated and out of context. With a whole food supplement, the complete food is reduced down to a pill or capsule of whole food complexes, enzymatically complete and evolutionarily balanced. This leads to improved absorption rates and greater influence on health and longevity. A whole food supplement may contain vitamins, carotenoids, essential fatty acids, fiber, natural sugar, minerals, lipids, bioflavonoids, and phytochemicals. These come in a perfectly balanced and bioavailable form, ensuring greater absorption, greater value, economically and internally. Up next, we have an interview with Christopher, who has been recommending and using whole food supplementation for many years. Here I am with Christopher from Live Live, a store in the East Village. It supports the living food and raw food lifestyle. And today he's going to give us some great information about some products we can use to help cleansing and to help strengthen our body. So Christopher, I was reading earlier this year there was a study that came out of England saying how that certain vitamins or vitamins might not be an excellent choice. But I see here you have a lot of dietary supplements that are whole food supplements. Could you give our viewers a little bit of information of the difference between a commercial supplement or vitamin and a whole food supplement?
Yes, definitely. Ideally, we would have all our nutrients from food, from wholesome, unprocessed foods. In modern age, the commercial production of food is such that it destroys most of the nutrients. Also, the soil that food is grown in, even if it's organic food, and that's surprising, because of the soil, which has been depleted over the last 40, 50, 60 years, has been depleted of nutrients. Even organic produce doesn't have as much minerals as it used to, in the beginning of 20th century, let's say. So ideally we would get everything from food, but I believe that some people in certain conditions would benefit from some supplementation. And there is a big difference between taking supplements that are synthetic, meaning man-made supplements made in a lab by people in white coats, that has no connection with nature at all.
It's not really a food, you're saying it's not, the body doesn't identify it as a food?
Yeah, exactly. Your body will not recognize it as food, and that's why the absorption of such synthetic substance usually is very, very low. Someone told me a story, I don't know how true it is, but someone supposedly working at the sanitation department and then going through, landfill somewhere and being surprised how much pills and vitamins they discover there, most likely stuff that we ingested.
I heard something like in the Chicago sewerage system, they collect a 55-gallon drum of unused vitamins.
So these are all vitamins that were put into our body with intention of feeding nutrients and minerals and vitamins, and the result was almost nothing. So the absorption rate of synthetic vitamins is very low. You could absorb maybe 5, 10, 15, 20% compared to, let's say, 60, 70, 80% of vitamins that are made in a totally different way. It's a different process. They are made as a whole food complex. There is only 4 or 5 companies in US that make them this way. But the body can recognize it more as food rather than synthetic, isolated chemical substance. To give you a quick example, vitamin C, the way it comes in nature from hibiscus or rose hips or fruit that are rich in vitamin C, the molecule of vitamin C has certain structure and certain elements that are present there. And I think it starts with tyrosinate in the middle, then you have the vitamin K, vitamin P, copper, some other elements, and on the outside you have very thin ring of ascorbic acid. And if you look at synthetic vitamin C on the label, what will it say? Ascorbic acid. So it's just one of the elements of vitamin C extracted and synthesized in a lab rather than using the whole complex. And what it does is, in the short term you may have some benefit, probably, but in the long term this kind of synthetic isolated substance may lead to depletion of those other minerals. So most likely if you take just ascorbic acid as vitamin C for a long period of time, it's likely that your body will be depleted of tyrosinate, vitamin P, vitamin K, copper, and all those other elements.
Right. Great. Now also, as a supplement, there's a substance called MSM, and I
don't confuse that with MSG, because I had some questions.
Right.
MSG is poison.
And MSG is a poison, that's right. But MSM is very useful to us. And,
yes.
And that is also in food, but is destroyed, I believe, when with cooking. What do you do with MSM? Do you recommend MSM?
Yes, very helpful. We have a lot of people who practice yoga. They come here for MSM. One of the benefits of MSM is it helps increase flexibility because it helps increase health of connective tissue and joints. So whoever has some kind of connective tissue problems, arthritis, inflammations of connective tissue, they can really benefit from taking MSM in therapeutic doses. Usually we would get MSM from food, from rainwater. It's MSM is mainly organic sulfur, which is one of major minerals that we need. And if you go in nature, pick some piece of I don't know, celery or carrot or dandelion, that will have some MSM on it already from rainwater, and if you don't wash it, you get some of that in your system. All commercial production of food destroys that nutrients either by heat or other kind of processing, so we don't really get much of that at all in our
and
food.
how would they take that? How does it come? How would a person consume MSM?
There are two ways. It comes in a powder. Here we have the same form in a tablet.
Okay.
One thing, if you look for this product, make sure that it's at least 99.9% pure MSM. There are some other products that have fillers and other things that you don't need. What we have here is 99.9 pure MSM.
Excellent.
These are tablets that are pressed at low temperature, so nothing is destroyed by heat. It also comes in powder that you can take with water.
Excellent. Also, I see you have a lot of cleansing products here and things that can help people to remove toxins from their body. Do you have any things that you particularly like, that you've experienced, that work well with your clients?
Yeah, again, with cleansing, like with any other procedure to increase vitality and help your health, I like to go back to nature as much as possible. So the most natural way to cleanse would be to stop eating. When you observe animals, if you have a cat or a dog, when they are sick, what do they do first? They stop eating. They may not even want to drink anything. And after a day or two or three, they come out from underneath the bed or wherever they hide. When they feel better, they start eating. We forgot that mechanism. We do have it, but we covered it up with all other kind of habits and conditioning. So you wake up in the morning, you go straight to the fridge for food. Animals in nature don't do that. So fasting would be first stage of cleansing. Stop putting toxins or whatever it is into the body, so that the body has a chance to rest and heal. But in different situations, it may be useful to use some products depending what kind of cleansing you're interested in. So if you're interested in intestinal cleansing, you may want to use something like intestinal cleanse program. Usually it takes a few weeks. That's the best way to do it. Kind of slow and gradual process. We have very excellent product. It's called the Ajuva, nicely packaged too. It's a 1 month program. All the products are made from very high quality herbs, mainly Ayurvedic herbs, And every week you do something different. You eat your regular meals. Most of the time, the last week you go on a blended food fast. But other than that, you just keep your regular schedule and you take these products. They help release a lot of toxins and old debris from intestinal tract.
Also, I've read a lot about a substance called oxymag, and that, that can help break down the mucoid plaques in the intestine and colon.
Yes, It's oxymag. It's chemically it's magnesium oxide, and it's a product that allows you to clean intestinal tract from top down. I'm sure some of your listeners have heard of colonics, and they have place in natural health, but the effect of colonics is limited. They can only reach part of large intestines. They do nothing at all for small intestines, which is many, many times longer than large intestines. Something like oxymag goes into your system through your mouth, and it starts dissolving all accumulated debris in the intestinal tract.
How would you take that? I see you have some there.
It comes in powder. You take between half a teaspoon and a teaspoon in a little bit of water with lemon juice. It requires citric acid from citrus fruit to
So you take
activate
one
it.
first, then you follow it, so like chase it with the lemon juice.
The best way I found it to take it is mix lemon juice straight into the water with this. It tastes better this way. And you can do 2, 3, 4 day cleanse like this, but people also do 2, 3, 4 week cleanse. So it all depends how ready the person is.
Yeah, this is very good stuff. We recommend this a lot. This is really great. oxymag is really good. So if a person was to do a cleanse, obviously they're going to be removing a lot from their body. There's going to be a lot of detoxification. Perhaps they may have problems with mineralization if they detoxify too quickly. What would you recommend to help remineralize somebody that maybe have that challenge?
Well, several things. The main thing that comes to my mind is Celtic sea salt, which is basically it's sun. Yeah, we have some here. It comes in gray color like this with big granules. Basically it's sun dehydrated seawater, and this particular one comes from France, and this is pretty much the only kind of salt that I would recommend, and I would recommend that you do have some of it pretty much daily. And I know some people are concerned about salt because they are told by doctors or other people that you should avoid salt altogether if you have high blood pressure or some other conditions. In my mind, it's incorrect. It is true if we are talking about table salt, which is basically poison. But in this case, when it's basically it's seawater, you can look at it. That brings all the minerals, all the trace minerals that your body needs. I would suggest that everybody drinks a large glass of water in the morning with about 1/4 teaspoon of Celtic sea salt, both for replenishing the liquids and minerals. Because when we wake up in the morning, we usually wake up already dehydrated. We start your day in a dehydrated state, so it's very important having.
And this is very economical. This is a pound bag here. This would last you quite a long time, perhaps 6 months, a year, or something like that.
There is another thing here when you ask about cleansing. What products we can recommend for cleansing. Very simple, this one that is detachable. You can just use it like this, or put it on a stick and use it in the back. And the way you use it is you use it dry. You don't wet it. You do it before the shower once or twice a day. It's called dry skin brushing, and it's a very effective way of stimulating the lymphatic system, which is responsible for carrying toxins out of the cells, carrying nutrients into the cells, carrying toxins out of the cells, and therefore increasing immune power of your system. So
very good. And you could use that over the whole body, right?
That's how you do you should do the whole body, starting with your feet, going upwards, your arms, the whole body. It takes about 5 minutes, and the feeling is amazing because your whole skin will be glowing and red and stimulated. You will feel warmer, especially for winter. That's really great to increase blood circulation, and you will feel quite energized after 7 minutes of doing it.
Yeah, great. Okay, and one last thing, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about honey. I know you have some great honey here and bee pollen, and you use other beehive products. What are the benefits of those? Why did you carry those products?
Well, there was some kind of study done, I don't know the details, but apparently the beekeepers are the longest lived profession out of all the professions in the world. So I don't know how that connects, but I believe that honey and bee pollen and propolis and all the beehive products have tremendous health benefits. One thing with bee products, people who are vegans, they don't use them, and they come to the store, they look at certain products, but when they see honey products, they don't want it, and there is good reason for it. A commercial production of bee products involves quite a lot of cruelty to bees, from killing them off for the winter so that you don't have to take care of them, to stealing all the food, including the food they need, including feeding them sugared water instead of what they are intended to eat. So we only have bee products that are, I have two sources. I know both beekeepers personally. One woman, she has worked with the bees for over 50 years in Eastern Europe, in Canada, in South America. So they really love the bees. They take care of the bees, better than...
And a much better quality product.
Therefore you have quality that is exceptional. This is bee pollen, which...
Okay, so what's bee pollen?
Technically...
I'm sure many people have not really heard of bee pollen or what it would do with it.
Some people are familiar with pollen as pollen in the air that causes allergies. This is not the same kind of pollen. Actually, this kind of pollen could be helpful for... It is, yeah. This kind of pollen could help over a period of time to get rid of allergies to those other kinds of pollens. I'm not sure if it's true, but somewhere I read that biblical manna could have been bee pollen. There are different versions, but I could see how it could be, because bee pollen has all the nutrients that your body needs to live. So you could live on this for weeks and weeks and weeks and have all the nutrients.
And how much would you say would you take a day?
If someone has never had this before, I would just try with a few little granules.
Just what do you mean? Just a very small granule itself? Just like one of these?
Just a few, like 3 or 4 of those every 5 minutes or so. Do it a few times to make sure that you're not allergic. If you are allergic, you would have a little bit of maybe itchy throat or tightness in your throat. If you are okay with it, if there's no reaction, then you can have anywhere from half a teaspoon to a couple of tablespoons, depending on what else you are eating, how much nutrients you need, how much energy you need. This is amazing for quick boost of energy. When haven't done it in a long, somehow I haven't felt depleted in energy in a long time. But a few years ago, I remember when I would work, long hours and stressed, I would take half a teaspoon or a teaspoon, put it directly under my tongue, hold it there, don't chew it, just let it dissolve. Within 5-7 minutes, I would feel energized.
Yeah, I recommend it a lot when I'm doing a lemonade fast with some of the clients. I get them to put it in an electrolyte lemonade. Gives a nice little flavor, not very much, just perhaps a quarter of a teaspoon, nothing more than that. And I find that helps give them a lot of energy on a fast, on an extended fast.
Definitely. And you can buy bee pollen in stores. I would make sure that it's really soft when you buy it, soft to touch. When you touch it, it should all disintegrate. Also the color and the smell of it, indicates, how fresh it is.
To me, it tastes creamy. It should have like
Yes,
a creamy
it should.
taste to it.
If it's kind of hard that you have to bite into it and kind of break it down with your teeth, definitely it's all, well, maybe not all, but definitely too much heat has been applied. So it should be soft and creamy. Yeah.
Well, we want to say thank you to Christopher. He's given us some great information here today. So thank you again, Christopher.
Thank you, Kevin.
The information has been really excellent.
Thank you.
And see us again on the Bright Eyes World Health Network.
Coming to you from the East Village today. We're standing in front of Live Live. So, Chris, how you doing today?
Good. Hi.
Let's try that again.
Who today with a couple of associates here gave a great capoeira demonstration, and we thought we'd just like to find out a little bit of the history of capoeira. So, Mestre, give us a little history. Where does capoeira come from, and what is its tradition?
Capoeira comes from the Africans who were brought to Brazil and forced into slavery, and they developed capoeira as a self-defense, and they disguised that in dance, so that the slave owners didn't know what they were practicing. So there were attacks and escapes blended into flowing movements. We play capoeira in the form of a game, in a circle, with music and songs. We have the main instrument, which is a bowed instrument, a berimbau, and that determines what type of game is to be played. For example, there is a game that's played that is low and more suggestive, and it's very hard to see the fighting aspects of the art. And then other rhythms that are played where it becomes a very dangerous, very lethal, very fast, very powerful, more like a fight with takedowns, headbutts, knees, elbows, and kicks. And then if the slave owner comes, we change the rhythm on the bowed instrument called the berimbau, and the game all of a sudden changes into something again very low.